to the stage, Tori.
Thank you, Scott. Great job, everybody. General Evaluator, I pretty much just kind of give an overview of how the meeting went, goods, bads, positives, what to work on. So I'm just going to pull up my little notes right here. First of all, Toastmaster, great job explaining reports, smooth transitions, very clear. A couple of hiccups as a whole, but we went through all the steps of the agenda correctly. Everything flowed. The speakers were really great. I felt like I was kind of in person this time because the gestures were great. And I love that Tricia stood up and Sourin kind of pointed out that he was using his hands, which was really awesome. Table topics, that was fun. Jeopardy, it was literally like Jeopardy. I thought that was really creative. I wouldn't have thought to do that, so I thought that was really cool. Visuals are always really fun, I think, to use. The commenting was also great afterwards. Onur, you showed that you were really engaged with everyone and in the impromptu speeches. And overall, I'm kind of just impressed that everyone, came, and the fact that we're all trying to improve ourselves, master public speaking. We're all here for the same reason. So it's hard to dedicate your time to something that you're uncomfortable doing. And a lot of people can't step out of their comfort zone or venture out. So it's just, across the board, very impressive. Everyone's here and great job, great meeting. So I guess what I'm going to go ahead and do next is evaluate Tricia as a speaker, and then I'm going to pass it over to, I'm going to evaluate Tricia first, and then I'll pass it over to Slate, and then reevaluate. So Tricia, very engaging. You started off with storytelling, and it was a really fun story, which I thought was great. And your hand gestures as well. I thought standing up was really great. It just walking back and forth. Your vocal variety was really great movement, and I could see when you were saying fencing or scurrying or reaching out, you kind of acted it out, which I thought was great. You also kept your palms open, which I actually watched a TED Talk the other day, and it said that when you keep your hands open like this during a speech, people are more trusting of you, and they're more engaged in your speech, which you did such a great job of. I was wow, she's really open with her audience. This is great. So overall, great with that. The only main thing that I would say is working on eye contact. I couldn't really tell if it was because it's hard when you're not looking directly at the camera and it's virtual, so you can't really see. But since you're moving back and forth, I think that if we were in person, you would kind of be talking to everyone across the room. But great language and word usage. It wasn't just baby words, but it was still very clear. And you just seemed really comfortable with the audience and tied it back with that great quote, beginning and end. And I thought it was a great speech overall. So great job. So back to the stage now, I think I'm going to call Slate as the evaluator for Sourin's speech. So without further ado, Slate, take the virtual stage.
Thank you, Tori. I will be evaluating Sourin today. Hello, Sourin. So, start off a little background real quick. This was Sourin's second speech as a part of his second project called Feedback and Evaluation. It consists of 2 speeches and him taking the role of evaluator. And what he had to do is take the feedback he received from his first speech and redo it using that feedback. And first off, he definitely knocked that out of the park. He made it very clear he's going to do that. It's not completely necessary, but so from what I remember, he said his feedback was definitely implement gestures into his speech, despite the online setting. And I believe last meeting, I think it was increase your vocal variety. And I think you did both of those. Definitely did gestures, so touch on how you did your gestures well. I definitely liked you counted off for a certain gesture. You're like this and X and Y. That was a good gesture. And a second one, I liked your what I call your go-to gesture, which is definitely a good thing. You did what I call the shake. That's a good one to rely on because it's not an awkward one that detracts, but yet it keeps me sort of right there with you. So I really applaud you for that. I don't know if that was just unconscious or subconscious, you did it without thinking about it, or that was actually, you know, something you thought of, but that's definitely good, something to keep up instead of just waving your hands about randomly. And some things you could improve on, definitely eye contact. I say that was probably the only and most distracting thing. Is you just simply would, like, you know, like some people do, they would just look around. They just look like this, up, right, left.
Yeah.
Pretty much. And I definitely, it's tough for me. The hardest thing is you got to look right at the camera, and it's really awkward. So my best advice for the online setting is put a pair of googly eyes, a picture of something, your dog, a person, right above your camera. But so that's definitely something you could improve on. And again, for in-person meetings, it seems a lot easier. And then something else you did great though is no fillers. I didn't notice any fillers that detract from your speech. So that was really great. And then another thing you can improve on is the pacing and your transitions. So this is kind of 2 for 1. What you can improve on and what you did great. It's obvious you're very well prepared and organized for your numerous speeches from your tons of specific examples. From right after the bat, you started with George Floyd and the other example, and you went to how it's important to defend your First Amendment rights and through the Women's March and how it's become organized and the power of social media. And you also mentioned MLK Jr. and Gandhi. Really great examples proving all the points you said. But I just feel like the pacing was a little off. Maybe just pause after that sort of transition to the next, because it was very clear there was a different topic, but just trying to make that a little more clear. And then obviously, like I said earlier, you could totally knock your pathway objectives out of the park, took the feedback, internalized it, and used it. And yeah, and then the last thing I want to leave with that you did really great is huge interest. You could just tell, again, from your preparation that you obviously have an interest for this, and it's very current. And with that said, you know, you just made it clear you want to inspire people and advocate to get out and defend what you believe in. That's pretty much what I got from your speech. So thank you, Sourin.
Thank you. Slate.
All right, thank you, Slate. That was a great evaluation, actually. I really like that you, where are my notes all the way down here now? Okay. I like how you, you know Sourin really well, so you kind of know what his gestures are, which is like the shake, which is great, which I think is actually really, really helpful when it comes to evaluating people if you know their style, so you know what they can improve on. There wasn't anything that I saw that you had great eye contact, great advice with the googly eyes. I think I might actually try that. And great delivery, really organized. You kind of did positive, negative, positive, and then ended on a positive note, which was fantastic. I don't really have anything that's could be improved on for that evaluation. Maybe like a couple of ums here and there, but I've probably said 20 by now. So, I mean, that's great evaluation. So I guess I think it's Scott next, right? Or do I call it Tricia?
The reporters. You can call in the reporter roles, the Grammarian, O'Connor.
Oh, that's right. Okay. So now I'm going to go ahead and call in the Grammarian, timer, and all counter. So I believe the Grammarian was Justin. So Justin, if you just want to give a report on pretty much what you saw this meeting.
Yeah, absolutely. So I didn't notice too much that couldn't be explained away by just people speaking under pressure and how natural speech patterns sort of emerge during that, like things I'm doing now that are not, I wouldn't do in writing. There were a couple things with the like general speech grammar that I saw with the prepared ones. One phrase that I saw that Tricia used a lot was, and I was like, or and it was like. One thing that would be better, I think, grammatically would say, I thought of, or then I thought, something like that. Then I thought's usually a better, or then we said, kind of making that more clear. And then there was one sentence in Sourin's that said, push back whatever you need to do, which makes sense in a larger context, but there was a few words you had to fill into that. So it would have to be like pushed back to do whatever you needed to do. It's just a to-do got dropped off. And then the only other thing I saw happen a couple of times was using the phrase "for example" after an example had been given. It's usually best to use it before, because after the fact, it's most likely already clear that it's an example, so that expression is no longer grammatically necessary anymore. But like I said, besides that, everything was really good, and it was just stuff that emerges with pressure for most people. And when we're under pressure, we revert to our natural speech patterns, so it makes sense. So thank you so much.
Great, awesome. Thank you, Justin. That was really helpful. And now we're going to go ahead and have the all counter come up. So Noah, if you want to give your report.
Hello, everyone. Okay, so starting with Tricia. She didn't really have many ums or filler words. I mean, I counted 2, and those were close to the beginning before she started talking about the birds. But that was pretty good. Sourin, you didn't have a lot of ums, but you did have a lot of so's that served as transitions, which, I mean, I didn't think it was that bad, but obviously it's something that needs to be fixed. So, look, even I'm using it. So maybe you can, I don't know. I really don't know. But yeah, that's what I heard.
All right, sweet. Thank you, Noah. All right, and then last but not least, Tricia, if you want to take the stage and just kind of give some reports on the timer, or I guess be the timer, but give your reports.
Okay, yes. So thank you for everyone joining part of this meeting. And thank you again to Slate, who timed while I was giving a speech. From your point, was I in time? I just saw the 7-minute. I'm not sure how much over.
Yes, you reacted very well with time. You were in time.
Okay, so it sounds good. So with that, both speakers were in time. Most table topics were in time, with the exception of Sourin's second time that he came up to give his table topics. It was just slightly under by around 18 seconds. Typically with any of the time limits you see, whether it's 5 to 7 minutes for speeches or 1 to 2 minutes for table topics, or for evaluations 2 to 3 minutes, there are grace periods. So for example, with table topics, the time limit is 1 to 2 minutes. You do have a grace period of 30 seconds over 2 minutes. So even when the timer says 2 minutes, that's just kind of your warning, like, okay, now I just have that final 30 seconds left. Typically for table topics, we encourage that everyone reach the 1 minute mark. But for speeches and evaluations, you do get the 15-second grace period before your minimum time. So with that, for our evaluators for today's meeting, Tori, you are under time by 30 seconds, so you hit 1:30. And Slate, you went over the 30-second grace period by around 18 seconds. So in both evaluators' case, in this instance, you wouldn't be evaluating, what's the term? You wouldn't be
Eligible for voting?
Eligible for voting, yes. Thank you, Slate. But I mean, if you want to go ahead and send those votes in and still see who the best evaluator is, you're more than welcome to. And just know that it would not officially count for this meeting. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Tricia. I appreciate the feedback, because I don't know what is the time that evaluators should be in. Is it 2 minutes?
2 to 3 minutes.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you. So now we're going to go ahead and I'm going to pass it over to Slate. Overall, great meeting. I thought this was really smooth transitions. There was a couple of little baby hiccups, but other than that, everyone did a great job. So Slate, you can go ahead and take the stage.
Thank you, Tori. I'm going to pass back real quick to Scott as Toastmaster to finish up.
Okay. Oh, okay. Well, thanks very much for that, Slate. So, once again, it was great. It was great having you all here tonight for Toastmasters, and thank you very much once again for letting me try out to be Toastmaster for tonight. Well, I appreciate the opportunity. And for that, I think that's all I have on my end. But I will pass it on to our president, Slate, right here. All you.
Thank you, Scott. All right, and that will be our meeting. I'll now give a few closing remarks. Great meeting. We had our two speakers, obviously, like our general evaluator said, and some quick remarks on my end. I think it went pretty well. We can still fine-tune Toastmaster and GE. Make sure whenever you're done with your section, you're always passing it back to the Toastmaster. What else? Some other tips. As whenever the role of Toastmaster, which is what Scott did today, make sure you're always leading the meeting. And part of that is what we did correctly is we announced the reporters, but actually call on the reporters and let them introduce their roles themselves. And so they can get experience doing that. On that, pretty good. I'm going to give one quick announcement, and then I'll have our guest today introduce himself, and we'll say who the officers are real quick too. So our announcement is we have a new area director. So for those of you who know, our previous area director was Linda, and she joined us recently for an online meeting, and she's been great. She's been our area director for 2 years, and I'd like to announce our new area director is, make sure I've got it correct, Joan Sheets. So she is a part of a local club, and so she should be joining us for a meeting soon and introduce herself. Looking really forward to getting to know her. She's also serving as the VP membership of the Athens Toastmasters Club, so she's definitely local. She'll get to know us real good. With that, officers, real quick, just say who they are real quick and what role they are. I'll start. My name is Slate Nations. I'm a senior, and I'm the president of UGA Toastmasters, so I just oversee all our meetings in the club. And Tricia, you can take it after me.
I'm Tricia. I'm VP of Membership. For our guest here today, I'm the person you've been communicating with over email, so just to kind of put a face to a name, that sort of thing. But really, in my role, just kind of helping our club continue to grow while also supporting our current members so that we can all improve our public speaking. Thank you. And then we can pass it off. Popcorn, Tori.
Popcorn, I love that. Okay, I'm Tori. I'm the VP of PR. I work pretty close with Tricia. I'm kind of creating graphics. She's the VP of membership. We work kind of hand in hand in that. I just run the social media, Instagram, Facebook. If you have questions, just DM the Instagram if if you need your questions answered like that. So that's pretty much my roles and responsibilities. And I'm also a junior at I'm a senior at UGA. Sad. And then I guess I'll go ahead and popcorn it off to Scott.
All right. All right. Thanks, Tori. So, hey there, you guys. My name's Scott Alexander. I'm a senior here at UGA, going for my accounting degree. So in Toastmasters, I'm the club's treasurer, and so what that means is that fortunately, if everything stays according to plan and we're all able to get back to UGA in the fall on campus, I'll be in charge of making arrangements with local restaurants for bringing food to our meetings each Monday night. So it's a pleasure to see our new guests, and if you all have any general questions for me, feel free to ask. And I'll give that off to Sourin right now.
Hey guys, I'm Sourin. I'm going to be a sophomore, and I'm the secretary for Toastmasters, so I'm in charge of recording the meetings and getting things online and things like that and reaching out. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Those are our 5 current officers. We actually should have 7. 2 are vacant right now. So another quick announcement, we are looking to fill those roles as the year continues. So if you're interested, definitely message either me, president, or someone else if you're at all interested in that. 2 roles are Sergeant at Arms. That would be what Tricia is filling in for and what she held previously. So she'd also be a great resource if you're interested in that role. She pretty much, the person in that role pretty much just gets the meeting ready for in-person meetings, gets the banner and the gavel, all our supplies, sets up the Zoom meeting for online meetings, anything along that nature. And our VPE, VP Education, would be your go-to for Pathways, which is our educational program in Toastmasters, which both our speakers put towards credit today with their speeches. Pathways consist of picking one of 11 paths where you can choose numerous things from just presentation mastery to dynamic leadership. And they're really tailored to give you that sort of skill set that you chose. And they consist of doing 14 projects, and each project consists of a speech. And I couldn't praise it enough. And with that said, will our guest introduce himself? Will he say his name, his year and major at UGA, and what you thought about the meeting?
Hey guys, I'm Lewis Bannister. I'm a psychology major, a senior. I appreciate y'all letting me come. I thought it was a good meeting, for what I know. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, man. I'm glad to hear that was a good meeting. That's how every Monday meeting works, is we have those 3 parts, and prepared speakers, table topics, impromptu speeches, and then evaluations. That's how you improve. And it's really what I'm looking forward to in Toastmasters, is working on that public speaking, communication skills, and then really important too is the fellowship really that we build here too. We're all doing the same thing, going to college here, and having fun at it. With that, I'd like to officially close the meeting. And yeah, you can bing. Wait, no, it's probably something else I'm forgetting. Tricia, what am I forgetting?
Roll signups.
Roll signups. Yeah, we'll do that before we officially close it. So
and also best speaker, best table topics.
Best speaker and table topic. Yeah. So we didn't have best evaluators, Tricia said earlier, but you want to announce it now or after roll sign, Tricia?
I can do it after.
Okay. So I'm gonna share my screen in a minute. At the end of every meeting, we do role signups, try and fill up the next meeting because we are holding weekly meetings every Monday. So if you give me just one moment to pull that up. And at this time, or after I'm done role signups, if anyone has any questions at all, feel free to ask. There we go. So this is our Google Sheets, and this is available in a link that we share in our GroupMe. It's also in the bio or info section of our general body GroupMe. It's always open to edit if you just have the link. So if you want to just go ahead and sign for speaker 2 weeks, 3 weeks in advance. You can always do that, and then make sure to let us know so we know you updated it. But with that said, next week would be Monday, June 15th. And briefly go over the roles. We have Toastmaster, which I already mentioned with Scott. Pretty much just leads the meeting. Table topics was Onur today. Comes up with the theme and the questions, which he did a great job with today. That's what the table topics master would do. Just comes up with about 10 to 15 questions and sort of leads the table topic section. And then we have speakers. Typically try and get at least 2 to 3. And then we have general evaluator, which evaluates the evaluators. As funny as that sounds, and the meeting in its entirety. That was Tori today. And then we also have the evaluators who will evaluate a specific speaker, and the reporter roles, which are Grammarian, well, pretty much evaluates the grammar of the meeting, all counter, counts and keeps track of filler words, and timer, who times the meetings and makes sure to update speakers on their time. So will anyone, and then Toastmaster, table topics, and general evaluator have to be a paid Toastmaster, paid member. But you can do your first speech or be a reporter role as a guest, as always. So with that said, will anyone like to be Toastmaster for next week? I'll probably go and fill Toastmaster myself for now. Is anyone interested in table topics master for next week?
I can do table topics.
Okay. Awesome, Tori. And speakers. Would anyone like to do a speech? You can start with your pathways. You can do an intro speech. And for everyone who hasn't given an intro speech yet, Justin and Lewis, who's our guest today, intro speech is only 4 to 6 minutes. So you just want to try and hit that 4-minute mark. And just like it's called an intro speech or an icebreaker speech, it's really just get your feet in the water and just get practice talking. A lot of people talk about themselves. There's something they're really interested in. So whenever you're ready for that, you can do it. You can do it next week if you wanted to, or check out another few meetings. Just let us know. And then would anyone else like to do a speech?
I have a possible conflict for next weekend, but could you put me down as a backup evaluator?
Yes. Evaluator. All right. And then we still need GE, a general evaluator, and an evaluator if we get a speaker. So what do you guys look like? Sword, it's good.
I can be a speaker.
Okay, awesome. Making great progress in speeches. It's the only way to improve is keep doing speeches. That'll be your 4th speech, I believe, with us. And Scott, what do you want to do next week?
Oh, there I am. Let's see, for next week, I think I can be general evaluator. If that's okay with you guys.
Okay. That will work out great, Scott. Thanks. All right. And Noah or Onur, do you already know if you'll be joining us next week and what roles you'd like to do if so?
Yeah, I'll be here. I can be an evaluator.
Okay, awesome. And you are, I can't remember if I told you, Noah, but you are still a paid member, if I mentioned.
Okay.
Till the end of June. So Noah's an evaluator. And Onur, did you say if you'll be here next week or if you can fill a role?
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm busy next Monday, so I can't make it.
No, I appreciate you letting us know. Sounds great. So right now we've got 1 speaker, table topics. So we pretty much just enough for a meeting, which is good. If we don't get another speaker, we'll probably want to do a couple extra questions, Tori. Maybe at least enough for everyone to go twice. So like 18 or so, if possible. And that will move on to calling who is best speaker in table topics.
Yeah,
Pass that off to Tricia.
Thank you, everyone. First and foremost for joining, and secondly for specifying who you'd like for your first and second choice, as it does come into play with voting. So with best speaker, we have Sourin. Clap, clap, clap. Round of applause, round of applause. And now for our best table topics, we have Justin. Yay, round of applause, round of applause. And best evaluator, which although it doesn't count, I'll still go ahead and announce Slate. Congrats to everyone, and thank you again for voting. Looking forward to seeing you all next week.
Great, thank you. You can bang that virtual gavel and end the recording, Soren.
There you go.